Hi, and welcome to this week's video. So I thought I'd start with what we were going to learn this week. This was asked by someone on Facebook. So here it is, the Pink Panther. What we're going to do, if you've heard our version of the tune, it opens with the bass taking the lead on the tune, and then it goes into a rockabilly bass section. So today we're just going to cover part A of the tune, which is the bass taking the lead. So the Pink Panther, our version of it, is in the key of E minor. So we're starting in the key of E. It is played pizzicato in the first set, so we're not playing slap style for this first part of the tune. We're just playing pizzicato, which is pressing the string rather than pulling and slapping. So the whole thing is played pizzicato. The tune is in a dotted rhythm. A dotted rhythm, for those of you who don't know, is where you get a short and a long. So it's kind of... So most of the tune uses that dotted rhythm all the way through. If you're not overly familiar with the dotted rhythm, feel free to practice just your right hand only. It's a good way to break it down if you're a beginner and you're wanting to jump in to this straight away, because putting the two hands together, it's more of an advanced well, probably intermediate level tutorial today. So yeah, do feel free to break it down and work on your fingering as well. So I'm going to break down the tune, and I'm going to break down the fingering that I use. It might not work for everybody. Feel free to mess around and try your own versions, but it's the one that I find is the most fluent and fluid for this particular piece. So the tune starts on the D string, and you start with a D sharp and an E. And I choose to use the first finger to slide down here. And then I use my little finger for the F sharp. So it starts, and then onto the open G, and that's in the dotted rhythm. So we've got D sharp, E, F sharp, G, and we repeat that pattern. So it does that twice, but the first time you've got this pauses in between, and the second time no pauses, just keep going. And then we've got, so after we've got the open G, C, B. And my C, B, I choose to use my little finger, and then my second finger, okay? And again, if tuning is really difficult on a dub bass, so you can always work with a tuner and have a tuner there, so you know that your tuning is quite accurate, or even a piano or another instrument, just to make sure you're in the right places. It's always, you can, if you're really starting out, you can always sort of draw the frets on with a pencil, but it's much better to try and learn by listening and getting your motor, sort of, your muscle memory to know where the notes are. Don't get me wrong, I'm not 100% perfect at this. I'm not a classically trained double bass player, and I've only been playing 5 years myself. So this is, for me, still something that is a little bit of a challenge. I learned everything I learned off YouTube. So thanks, Jeff. But yeah, so it's definitely something that, but it's really important to me. It's really important to have good tuning. So do use your ears, use a tuning app or whatever works for you to try and make sure you've got that, when you're further down or wherever you are, making sure you're actually on the fret where it needs to be. So the next part of the phrase all sits under this shape here, this part of my hand. So after I've played the CB, I come down to an E, G, B, A sharp, and then it's A, G, E, D, E. Okay, so that all sits under this shape here, and my hand doesn't move at all, so hopefully the notes should be just under your fingers. Obviously keep an ear out for your tuning. Make sure you're really working hard to keep the notes in tune. It's really, really hard with the double bass. You can roll your finger to the side and go almost a semitone out of tune. So really do keep an ear out to make sure your tuning's nice and sturdy. So I'm going to add that phrase in. So it's there all under the hand. So the next part is actually just a repetition of the beginning, all the way up to the open G. So you have the first phrase. There, stop there. And then you jump all the way up to a E and a D sharp on the G string. Okay? Just in case. So here. This is where you really want to watch your tuning. I choose to use, as again from the first phrase, I choose to use the open G because it's much easier to drop down and get yourself in the right position for your E and your D sharp. I usually embellish a little bit, I improvise a little bit, but my general standard is 3, 4, 1, and then jump back up to the first phrase again. Okay, but you're very welcome to just hold on that D sharp. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and back to there. Okay, so you choose whichever one works for you. So then we're back to the beginning for a repetition of our first phrase again. That's all the same as the very first phrase. Okay, so next we're going to look at the run. So we start with the standard D sharp A, and we jump all the way up to an E, D, B, A. Okay, and they're all under your hand. So you use your thumb to keep your positioning. So slide down to hit the neck, and they're under there. So it's little finger, first finger, little finger, first finger. Again, be really careful with your tuning. So E, D, B, A on the dotted rhythm, and then open G and drop to the E. Okay, and then we follow that with some pull-offs. So you guitarists out there will probably have used these before. Again, Brick's a perfectly good technique for double bass. So we have a B flat to an A, or an A sharp in the key we're in really. So we're going to play the A sharp and then just pull off to the A. So we're not actually going to play again on our right hand. Like that, okay? So you're just pulling off to change the note. Like that. It's a really good technique and it sounds really nice. If I tried to, if I decided I was going to play, it can sound a little bit messier and it's not quite as cool. So yeah, pull-offs are really nice for this. So that follows the little run. So we've got, and then we just finish it off with G, E, D, E, E. And that's the end of our tune. So the very last section, we have an open G, followed by an E, open D, and then 2 E's, okay? And then we repeat that phrase, but with an E at the beginning. So E on the first finger, open G, E, open D, E, E. And together it sounds like. And then finish with the open D to the E. So there you have it. That is the Pink Panther. So when you add it all together, it will sound like the piece we heard at the beginning. So please feel free to rewind, play along. And I hope you've enjoyed listening today. If you've got any questions about this or anything else, please do add me a little comment at the bottom or drop me a message. I'll reply to everything as always. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click that subscribe button and you can get the updates and also, you know, be a big support, which is awesome. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you soon.